Well, hello and welcome to the Shifts and Pucks News Pack for Wednesday, October the 26th. You can follow us on Twitter at Shifts and Pucks, Facebook.com Shifts and Pucks, YouTube.com Shifts and Pucks, Twitch.com Shifts and Pucks. You can subscribe wherever you get your audio, as well as on the Area 51 Sports Network. Sean and Tyler, we're going to do an episode talking Canucks, but illness befell that. But we will be back tomorrow. We've got Noah Adler from Flames Nation joining me, Matt Dubourg joining, Devin should join as well, and maybe others. Who knows? But we'll spend some time talking about the Calgary Flames, what's going on with the Flames. Another win last night as they defeated the Pittsburgh Penguins. We'll touch on that. Patrick Allvin spoke to the media today for the general manager of the Vancouver Canucks. Talked about some injuries. Was asked about a rebuild as well. So we'll get into that as here as well. But we'll start with the Flames. They did play last night and came away with the win over the Pittsburgh Penguins as they jump out here. Pretty solid effort overall. 4-1 was the final score. Jonathan Huberdeau gets his first goal as a Flame. Nazem Kadri continues to be the best player on the Flames. 2 goals, 1 assist. This was Jacob Markstrom's best effort. Michael Stone continues to do whatever this guy is asked to do. Michael Stone does it. He gets a goal. Fourth line, I thought the Rooney, Lucic, and Richie line again gave really solid fourth line minutes. And the Flames come away full mark. They jumped on the Penguins early, who played Monday against the Oilers. So this was a back-to-back situation. Jumped on them. The Penguins took it to them a little bit, came back in the second, but the Flames locked it down again and came away with the win. So Kadri gets the 2 goals at 2 minutes and 30 seconds apart in the first. He gets his third from Majapani and Dubé, and then Kadri gets his fourth unassisted. Then on the power play, Jonathan Huberdeau gets his first as a Flame from Rasmus Andersson and Kadri. Rasmus Andersson has had a quietly good year in Calgary. I feel like there's other people kind of more focused right now. There's been talk about Markstrom, talk about Kadri, talk about the first line, who still don't have a 5-on-5 goal together. But Rasmus Andersson has been quietly good. And then Kadri takes a high sticking penalty. Malkin adds some pay from Jeff Carter and Sam Poulin, who made his NHL debut last night, got his first point. And then Michael Stone at 11:20 from Lucic and Richie. And 4-1 locked down in the third with no scoring. Flames outshoot the Penguins 36-33. Hits were even. Flames win the faceoff circle 41-23. Hits were 18 apiece. Penguins 1 for 5 in the power play. Flames 1 for 3. And so probably the most solid of the effort. Daryl Sutter talked about how he thought all 3 of his centers were good. I also thought he said something interesting during the day press conference where he didn't want to talk so much about individual accomplishments. And we'll dig into this tomorrow because he said you didn't want to talk about individual accomplishments. You wanted to talk about the team as individual stats got this team in this organization in trouble before. And I think it's a really interesting conversation. So much focus on individuals, though, even though this hockey is a team game. I thought it was very interesting. And I'm thinking about last year, there was a lot of conversation about Goudreau's Hart Trophy run, Elias Lindholm getting the Selke nomination, Jacob Markstrom as well, Matthew Tkachuk. All these numbers came into play. And were they a better team for it? They didn't get through to where they wanted to in the playoffs. So well, it'd be an interesting question that we'll discuss tomorrow. But the Flames their next action is on Saturday. They host the Edmonton Oilers for round 2 of hockey of the Battle of Alberta. The Vancouver Canucks played have a couple days off, don't play tonight. They have back-to-back games. They go tomorrow to Seattle and then come home Friday to play the Pittsburgh Penguins. Still winless, 0-5-2. Patrick Allvin spoke to the media today. Let's start with the injury part of this conversation. Curtis Lazar out 3 to 4 weeks. Quinn Hughes should be back next week. Brock Besser was also put on injured reserve, but he's day-to-day, so he could be back soon, but they're expecting Quinn Hughes to be back next week. So Sheldon Dries, Will Lockwood were called up. And as for the lines today in practice, depleted Vancouver Canuck lineup, no question. But is here we just pulling up the lines here. Just like we had Horvat, Garland, Miller. By the way, just on a side note, really something for a future discussion. I think Miller's more effective as a winger than a center. I just think he hasn't tried to do so much. I think he looks comfortable. I think that this would be a permanent position for him, but you have other injuries that are going to cause that different. You've got Pedersen, Kuzmenko, and Mikheyev. You got Dries, Pearson, Hoglander, Amon, Joshua, Podkolzin, and Will Lockwood. And then your 7 defensemen rotating through the pairings were OEL Myers, Rathbone, Burrows, Brisebois, Shen, and Noah Juleson. So that is that. Now, other things that Allvin talked about. He was asked about going into a rebuild here, whatever that term is. These are the words that Harman Dayal asked Patrick Allvin. This is Allvin's answer. It's interesting, the rebuild word. I've been part of a rebuild before. I came in late in the previous organization, Pittsburgh, and we were able to rebuild and win 3 cups. I still think that we're building something here every day. We're not done. I think that was something we wanted to accomplish this summer, was changing the culture, raising the bar, having higher standards, and bringing in younger players, character players, and making sure we're always looking at options here. Well, I could imagine that the Twitter comments to this have been, well, it's Twitter. What do you expect, really? Let's be frank about it. But again, there's going to be some fans that are in the belief that this has to be a complete teardown now. There is other fans that I think are just, there are fans, I do believe that there are fans that are still trying to remain positive with this team. It's a frustrating time, but I honestly think that there are fans that are trying to be positive. Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. What will this market really do? From Aquilini's perspective, whether you like it or not, he doesn't believe that this fan base will come out and support financially a rebuild. And you've got there's a lot of mitigating factors around this question and this conversation. So there's going to be fans upset on Twitter, upset by Allvin's comments. There's going to be fans that are, trying to stay positive. I think every fan is in a little bit of a different place. And I don't necessarily think, and this is maybe an unpopular opinion, but I don't necessarily think that the fan base on Twitter necessarily is the representative of all of the fan base. I think it's a part of the fan base, but I don't necessarily think it's the entire part of the fan base. So, I think there's some criticism. You can just scratch your head at the comments of Patrick Allvin. But in terms of them going into, what they're going to do in the future, I mean, he was also asked about Bo Horvat. He said Horvat continues to be a big part of the team. Just for some, this is going to be word salad. And others, I think, as I said, though, I think some fans are still trying to be positive. You know what? Maybe they get their first win. and against Seattle, and maybe things turn around here a little bit. Um, they got to start soon. They're already 6 points behind the Kraken. They're already, like, you look at the standings at the Pacific Division right now. It is for Vancouver. You this is you can't go much longer without getting a win here at least. Here's the standings in the Pacific Division. You've got Vegas at 6-2, and I think that's a bit of a surprise for a lot of people. You've got Calgary 5-1, probably not a surprise. Seattle 3-3-2, I think that's a surprise at 8 points. Los Angeles 4-4, 8 points. Edmonton 3-2, 3-3 with 6 points. San Jose's got a couple wins at 4. Anaheim struggling 1-4-1 with 3, and then you've got Vancouver 0-5-2. So, in terms of getting to the third, fourth place spot, that wild card spot, you're already 6 points back. You're 10 points behind a perceived playoff, someone you were probably going to battle in the playoffs with, Vegas. Certainly you need to win the market. You need to win for the dressing room, and you need to win to get yourself back into some sort of contention. So that's what's at there for the Vancouver Canucks. So we'll see what's going on as we go here, as they hit back to back here Thursday, Friday, and a big game against Seattle. Just looking at the games tonight, we've got 3. We've got the first Ranger-Islander matchup. Rangers coming off the loss yesterday in a good hockey game against the Colorado Avalanche, but the Avalanche took it a shootout. They're 3-2-2. Islanders 2-4. Shesterkin expected to get the start again against E. Sorokin. The Edmonton Oilers, as said, 3-3. They're starting one of their first road trips of the year, and looks like they're going 11-7 again with Stuart Skinner starting in goal. The Blues are 3-1. Jordan Binnington getting a call there. Lightning and Ducks. Ducks 1-4-1. Not off to a great start there. Brian Elliott, though, getting the call for the Lightning, as they're also going 11-7 right now. And John Gibson starting for the Ducks. So those are the 3 games in the National Hockey League. As for the Canadian Hockey League, it is Wednesday, or we'll go back to some injury notes. Brad Marchand here. He was expected to miss a good chunk of the season for the Boston Bruins, that's another surprise. I think a lot of people were not expecting the Bruins to be where they're at this point, but they're off to a really good start. The move to Jim Montgomery from Bruce Cassidy seems to help both Vegas and Boston, as they're both off to good starts. He was pre-practiced between Bergeron and DeBrusque. Montgomery said he'd like to see him on the ice tomorrow. That would be 5 weeks ahead of schedule. But he does say he's expected to play before Thanksgiving. So Boston getting Marchand back early. Josh Norris, some really bad news for the Senators here. He could be out for the season. Signed a contract in the offseason here, an 8-year deal, and like DJ Smith said, if they get him back, great. But it's a shoulder injury, 3 points in 5 games. He missed 15 last year with a shoulder injury. Not sure if this is the same shoulder or a different shoulder. Actually, it is different injury. Different injury, but same shoulder. So questions about surgery or not. So that's a huge loss for Ottawa, who are trying to make some huge strides for a number of different reasons there. Tom Wilson, Nicholas Backstrom back skating here for the Washington Capitals. Still some time, but they've missed the start of the year. About 10 minutes each of skating, but both are coming off in surgery. Wilson had surgery to repair a torn anterior cruciate ligament in his knee surgery May 24th. Backstrom surgery left hip June 17th. Backstrom out indefinitely. Wilson not expected to play till December. So that's the injury news. And Cal Ripken, Phil Kessel set the Ironman record mark last night when the Vegas Golden Knights beat the San Jose Sharks. Kessel now with 990 straight games. Got a salute from baseball's Ironman, Cal Ripken. Here. Ripken said, "Congratulations to Phil. Playing so many consecutive games in the grueling, demanding sport of hockey is remarkable. He clearly has a passion for and love for the sport." Did have that poll question out if Phil Kessel's Ironman streak will be broken of 990. So you can vote on that on Shifts and Pucks. Let's flip over to the CHL rankings, and then we'll look at WHL action. So the honorable mentions in the rankings this week include the Kamloops Blazers, Mississauga Steelheads, and Gatineau Olympics. 10th ranked Halifax Mooseheads. Number 9, still Saskatoon Blades. Number 8, Windsor Spitfires. Number 7, Portland Winterhawks. Number 6 is the Red Deer Rebels. They're unbeaten, by the way, in the WHL. Ottawa 67s, 5. Sherbrooke Phoenix, number 2. Or number 3, Seattle Thunderbirds, or Sherbrooke Phoenix 4, Thunderbirds 3. By the way, the Thunderbirds acquired Luke Prokop for 3 draft picks from the Edmonton Oil Kings. Number 2, correct parts, and number 1 again is the Winnipeg Ice. So as mentioned, Prokop, Nashville Predators prospect, playing in the ECHL. The Seattle Thunderbirds have acquired the rights to Luke Prokop. Not sure if he's going to get back on play in the WHL or if he's going to stay in the ECHL. That's where he's currently playing right now. But the Thunderbird are taking that risk and seeing if he could be back. GM Kurt Hill said Luke was a huge part of our team winning WHL championship and had a huge impact not only in Edmonton, but throughout the world of sport. Prokop said, "Forever grateful to the Oil Kings for taking me on an unbelievable journey. So many memories and friendships were made, and which made it my favorite year of hockey. Thank you, EOK." So we'll see what happens with what the Thunderbirds do with Luke Prokop, but that happened yesterday as well. We've got some games tonight in the WHL Cup here. You've got, we'll start in Connor Bedard and the Regina Pats are going to host Braden Yeager and the Moose Jaw Warriors. Really think people should be paying attention to Braden Yeager. He's a guy in Moose Jaw I really liked a lot. I interviewed Jamie Neugebauer last year about him. Really great player. You've got the Victoria Royals taking on the Red Deer Rebels, and you've got the Lethbridge Hurricanes taking on the Swift Current Broncos. AHL action here. Looking at that schedule here as by the way, there was a trade in the AHL, Blackhawks and the Flyers in a minor league trade. But we've got Belleville taking on Laval, Syracuse taking on Toronto, Cleveland taking on Wilkes-Barre, Texas and Milwaukee, Colorado, San Diego, Ontario taking on the San Jose Barracudas, who Liz Child writes for, and Red recommender reading her work there. Blackhawks acquired Cooper Zek from the Flyers in exchange for forward Evan Barrett there. So Zek, 1 goal and 10 assists in 53 games with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, and Barrett has played 2 games with the Rockford Ice Dogs in his 3rd pro campaign. And a historic night in the ECHL, or believed to be a historic night in the ECHL, as or last night, Jason Payne. We talked about a lot about the Phil Kessel history, but Jason Payne and Joel of the Kalamazoo, or Jason Payne of the Cincinnati Cyclones, takes on Joel Martin and the Kalamazoo Wings, and it was on Education Day. It was an afternoon game. What was so historic about it? It is believed that it was the first time two black coaches have against each other in an ECHL game. So Martin said it was humbling to be a part of history, and both coaches said that they hope that this historic meeting serves as an inspiration to people of color who want to become pro hockey coaches. So that was a really good end there, historic moment there for the ECHL. So that covers the news for today. Reminder tomorrow, Matt, Noah, myself, Devin, hoping to come on. We'll see who else is on. Talking Flames tomorrow live around 6 Pacific, 5 Pacific, 6 Mountain, somewhere in there. And then we'll figure out the Canucks schedule here and hope for health and good health to Sean and Tyler for that. Meanwhile, follow everyone on Twitter. Sean Beardy, Canucks03. Tyler TNOBLE. Chris Schneid's SCHNEIDZ. Devin Gordhow09. Follow Fireside Chat on all of the channels. They do their weekly podcast on Mondays. Follow me, KEVOLE, Shifts and Pucks, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Subscribe wherever you get your audio, as well as on the Area 51 Sports Network. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We will talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.